The glass did not just fall. It exploded on the interlocking tiles in front of the company gate. Cold water splashing like rain, tiny shards skittering across the ground. And the dog jumped on Anita. "Ah!" Anita screamed, both hands flying to her big pregnant belly as her back hit the gate pillar. Her heart hammered so hard she thought the baby could hear it. Snow's paws pressed against her chest for 1 second. Just one, and then the German shepherd twisted mid-air and landed between Anita and Amarachi like a wall. Amarachi froze with her mouth open, still holding the empty space where the glass used to be. "What? What is wrong with your dog?" Amarachi cried, her voice cracking, sharp with shock. Snow did not bark at first. He growled, low, deep, like warning thunder. Anita's eyes were wide, wet, and confused. "Snow, Snow, it's me. It's Anita. Why did you—" Snow snapped his head toward Amarachi. Then he launched. "Jesus!" Amarachi stumbled back, heels scraping the tiles. "Hey! Hey!" Snow lunged again, teeth flashing, not quite biting, but close enough that Amarachi flung her hands up and screamed. "Snow, stop!" Anita shouted, panic rising like hot water in her throat. "Stop it! Leave her!" But Snow didn't listen the way he usually did. His whole body was stiff. His eyes looked different. Not playful, not hungry. Not lost, protective. Anita grabbed the gate rail to steady herself. Her belly felt heavy, tight like a stone. She swallowed hard. "Amarachi," she said, trying to breathe properly. "Please, please don't run. You'll make him chase you." "I'm not running," Amarachi snapped, backing toward the security booth. "Control your dog. I swear this dog is mad." The security guard at the gate, Old Man Sani, stood up so fast his chair fell backward. Madam Anita," he shouted. Should I hit the dog with stick?" "No," Anita yelled instantly. "Don't hit him." Snow barked now, loud, hard, again and again, and between the barks he kept moving like a trained bodyguard, left, right, left, blocking Amarachi anytime she tried to step forward. Amarachi's breathing became messy. "Why is he acting like this? I did nothing." Anita looked at the broken glass, then at the spilled water spreading across the tiles. Something cold crept into her mind, slow and strange. Because Snow did not jump on her like a dog attacking. He jumped on her like a dog stopping her from drinking. Anita's throat went dry. She remembered the way the glass had been in her hand, right at her lips. She remembered how thirsty she was, how her mouth tasted like iron that morning. And she remembered Snow 2 days ago, dirty, thin, limping slightly, standing near the roadside gutter behind the company. Everyone had chased him away, but she hadn't. She had offered him a sachet of water and the meat pie she couldn't finish. She had even laughed and said, "Take, Snow, you look like a serious dog." She only called him Snow because his chest fur was oddly white against his dark coat. He had followed her from a distance after that, like he was guarding her shadow. Anita's hands began to shake. Amarachi swallowed, eyes darting around, trying to find a way to move without Snow jumping at her again. "Madam Anita, please. I'll call your husband," the guard said urgently. "Call Ogre Liam." Anita blinked. "Liam. Yes, Liam." She reached into her handbag with trembling fingers, but her phone slipped and almost fell. She caught it on the second try. Snow barked again and drove Amarachi backward with another lunge. Amarachi screamed, If this dog bites me, I will sue this company. Do you hear me?" Anita's finger hovered over Liam's number. Then she stopped, because as she stared at Amarachi's face, tight, angry, sweating, she noticed something she hadn't noticed before. Amarachi wasn't just scared. She was panicking in a different way, like someone who knew something was about to come out. Anita's stomach turned. "Amarachi," Anita said slowly, voice small, "what did you put in that water?" Amarachi's eyes widened so fast it looked like a mistake. Then she forced a laugh that did not sound like her. "Put? Madam, what are you saying? I brought you water." "You asked for water." "I know," Anita whispered. "But why did Snow stop me?" Snow barked once, sharp, like he agreed with Anita. Amarachi lifted her chin, trying to look offended. "So because a dirty stray dog jumped, you now think I poisoned you? Ha! Madam Anita, You're pregnant. You're stressed. That is the problem. Anita's skin prickled. She pressed her palm on her belly, feeling the baby shift, like he was also uncomfortable. Anita, a voice called from inside the compound, and the gate opened from the side entrance, and one of the office assistants rushed out. Madam Anita, sir said. He stopped when he saw the broken glass, the water on the tiles, and Snow still growling. What is happening? Anita's voice shook. Call Liam. Now tell him to come. The assistant nodded quickly and ran back inside. Amarachi tried to take one step to the right, closer to the gate exit. Snow moved with her instantly. No, Anita said, louder now, surprising herself. Oh, you're not leaving. What? Amarachi's voice jumped. Madam Anita, you can't hold me here because of a dog. Anita stared at her. The air felt thick, like Lagos harmattan dust, even though it was not harmattan season. Then stand, Anita said, voice low. If you did nothing, stand. Amarachi's lips pressed together. Her chest rose and fell fast. She glanced at the street outside the gate, like she wanted to teleport through the iron bars. Snow barked again, spit flying from his mouth, and took another half step forward. Snow, easy, Anita whispered, trying again, her voice softer. Easy, boy, please. For 1 second, Snow's ears flicked back like he heard her. Then he turned his head and barked again at Amarachi. Anita's heart thumped. A memory flashed in her mind, yesterday in the office, when Amarachi walked past her desk and smiled too sweetly. Madam Anita, you are glowing ooh, Amarachi had said. Pregnancy is really sweet on you. Anita had smiled back because she did not like trouble. Thank you, Amarachi. But now that same smile looked like a mask that could hide anything. The side door opened again, and Liam stepped out. He did not run. He walked fast, controlled, like a man trying not to show fear. He was tall, in a fitted shirt, with his tie loosened. His eyes moved quickly, first to Anita, then to the broken glass, then to Snow, then to Amarachi. Anita, he said, reaching her in seconds. Are you okay? Anita's voice came out weak. I didn't drink it. Liam's jaw tightened. You didn't drink what? Anita pointed down with shaking fingers. The water. Amarachi brought it. I was about to drink and Snow jumped on me and broke it. Liam turned sharply to Amarachi. Is that true? Amarachi lifted her hand slightly, like she was innocent. Sir, yes, but… Snow growled. Liam's eyes narrowed. He looked at Snow in a way that was not normal. Not like bad dog, more like, why are you doing this? Liam spoke calmly, but his calm had weight. Snow. The dog's head turned slightly. Liam crouched a little, palm out, slow. Easy. Talk to me. Snow did not attack Liam. He stayed planted like a guard. That alone made Liam's expression change, because trained dogs do not pick random enemies without a reason. And even stray dogs do not choose one person to fight unless something is wrong. Liam stood up slowly. He looked at Amarachi's face again, then at Anita, then back at Amarachi. Amarachi, Liam said, voice steady but cold now, what did you put inside that water? Amarachi's laugh came too fast. Sir, nothing at all. Liam took a breath. He spoke to the security guard. Sani, lock the gate. Nobody leaves. Amarachi stepped back. Sir, what is this? You want to embarrass me outside? People are watching. Anita glanced outside the gate. 2 women selling fruit had paused. A bike man was staring. A passerby had stopped to look. In Lagos, a scene grows legs quickly. Liam's voice stayed calm. Let them watch. I'm more concerned about my wife and my unborn child. Anita's eyes stung. She pressed her palm to her belly again, and suddenly she felt a tight pull low in her stomach. Not pain exactly, just a warning. She tried to breathe through it. Liam, I feel strange. Liam turned to her instantly. Okay, look at me. Breathe. He's slow. He wanted to guide her inside, but Snow barked again, refusing to move away from Amarachi. Liam's gaze flicked between them. Snow is not leaving her, Anita whispered. He thinks she did something. Amarachi's face began to change, not anger anymore. Now, desperation. "Sir Liam, please, this is too much," she said, voice softer, almost pleading. "Let us go inside and talk like adults. This is embarrassing." Liam's eyes hardened. "We will go inside, yes, or all of us." He pointed toward the office entrance. "Anita first." Then he looked straight at Amarachi. "You too." Amarachi hesitated, just for half a second, but that half second screamed louder than any confession. Liam's voice dropped. "Move." Amarachi swallowed and started walking toward the entrance. Snow followed, still barking, close, close, like a shadow with teeth. Anita walked slowly, one hand on her belly, the other holding Liam's arm. Every step felt heavier, and as they crossed into the compound, Anita glanced back at the shattered glass one last time. The water was already soaking into the dusty corners of the tiles. It looked harmless, like ordinary water. And that was the scariest part. Inside the building lobby, the air conditioning hit Anita's skin, making her feel suddenly cold. Staff members were already gathering, whispering. Someone gasped when they saw Snow. "Ah, dog inside company. Is it the mad dog? Madam Anita? Are you all right?" Liam raised his hand. "Everybody, go back to your desks, now." His voice carried authority. People scattered, but their eyes followed like cameras. Liam led Anita and Amarachi into a small meeting room beside the reception. He closed the door. Snow stood right in front of it, like a lock. Anita sat down slowly, breathing through the strange tightness in her belly. She tried to smile to calm herself, but it came out wrong, broken. "I'm fine," she lied. Liam crouched beside her. "No, don't lie. Tell me the truth." Anita swallowed. "I'm scared." Liam's face softened for a moment. Then he stood up and faced Amarachi. Amarachi was standing, hands clasped together tightly, nails pressing into her own skin. Liam pointed to a chair. "Sit." Amarachi sat, but she sat on the edge like she might jump up and run. Liam took a slow breath. Then he said, very quietly, "I'm going to check the CCTV." Amarachi's eyes flicked to the door, and then to Snow, then back to Liam. And Anita noticed it, clear as daylight. Fear, not fear of being attacked, fear of being exposed. Liam picked up the office phone, dialed one number and spoke into it without greeting. "Bring the CCTV footage from the gate camera. Now, full playback for the last 30 minutes. He hung up. The room went silent. Even Snow stopped barking. Anita could hear her own heartbeat, and inside her belly, the baby kicked once, hard. Anita flinched. Liam noticed. Anita," she whispered, almost embarrassed. "He kicked. Strongly." Liam's eyes filled with worry. "Okay, you're going to be fine. Just breathe." Amarachi's voice came out thin. "Sir, you don't need CCTV. This is all misunderstanding. That dog just—" Snow growled again. One warning note. Amarachi shut up immediately. Liam stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "2 days ago," Liam said slowly, "Anita told me she fed a stray dog behind the company." Anita nodded. Yes." Liam's eyes stayed on Amarachi. "And today, that same dog breaks a glass in her hand and tries to attack you. Only you." He stepped closer to Amarachi. "Dogs don't understand office jealousy. They understand smell. They understand danger." Amarachi's lips trembled. "Sir, please." A knock came on the door. Liam opened it. A security staff member entered holding a small tablet. His face was tight, serious. "Sir," the man said quietly, "the footage is ready." Liam took the tablet, and he turned it on. Anita leaned forward in her chair, heart pounding. Amarachi's breathing became loud in the small room. Liam pressed play, and on the screen, the gate appeared. The same spot, the same tiles, the same gate pillar. Amarachi was in the footage, holding the glass. But before she stepped outside, she paused near a table by the lobby. Her hand moved. Something small flashed between her fingers. Anita's stomach dropped. Liam paused the video. He looked at Amarachi. His voice was barely above a whisper, but it cut deep. "Amarachi, what is that in your hand?" Amarachi's face drained of color. Snow barked once, sharp and final, and Anita, still staring at the frozen frame on the screen, felt that tightness in her belly return, stronger this time. She held her breath, because in that frozen second she realized something terrifying. This was not just office drama. This was a plan that almost ended her life, and her baby's life. And the CCTV was about to show everything. The video kept playing. No one breathed, not Anita, not Liam, not even Amarachi. On the screen, Amarachi stood beside the reception table holding the glass of water meant for Anita. She looked around first, left, right. Then she leaned slightly toward her handbag. Her fingers slipped inside. Anita felt her chest tighten. The room suddenly felt too small, too quiet. Snow gave a low growl. The footage zoomed automatically as the security system adjusted focus. And there it was. A small transparent bottle, barely the size of a thumb. Amarachi opened it quickly, poured something into the glass, swirled the water gently, then closed the bottle and slipped it back into her bag. She smiled, a calm, normal smile. Then she walked toward the gate. The video ended. Silence fell like a heavy blanket. Liam did not speak immediately. He stared at the frozen image, jaw tight, eyes dark. Anita's fingers slowly covered her mouth. Her voice came out as a whisper. "You poisoned me." Amarachi shook her head immediately, too quickly. "No, no, sir. Madam, please. This is misunderstanding." Liam turned. The calmness in his eyes was gone. "What was inside that bottle?" Amarachi swallowed. Nothing came out. Snow barked sharply. Amarachi flinched. "I asked you a question," Liam said, his voice now firm and cold. "What was inside that bottle?" Her hands began shaking. She looked at Anita, then at the door, then back at Liam. Tears suddenly filled her eyes. "I didn't mean to kill her," she blurted. The words hit the room like thunder. Anita gasped. Her heart skipped so hard she grabbed her belly instinctively. "You," Anita whispered, voice breaking. "You wanted to kill me." Amarachi burst into tears. "I was angry. I was confused. I didn't think it would go this far." Liam stepped back slowly, disbelief written across his face. "You poisoned my pregnant wife." Amarachi slid off the chair and fell to her knees. "I'm sorry, sir, please. I was not thinking straight." Snow barked again, louder, pacing between them as if still guarding Anita. Anita stared at Amarachi, unable to understand what she was hearing. Her mind searched for another explanation, another meaning. Because Amarachi worked under her in accounting, she greeted her every morning. They had eaten lunch together during staff celebrations. "How?" Anita whispered. "How could you do this?" Amarachi cried harder, her words tumbling over themselves. "Because I love him." The room froze. Anita blinked slowly. Liam's expression hardened. "What did you say?" he asked quietly. Amarachi lifted her head, tears streaking her makeup. "I love you, sir," she cried. "I have loved you since the day I joined this company." Anita felt the air leave her lungs. Amarachi continued, and words rushing out like a broken dam. "I watched you every day, how you speak, how you respect people, how you built this company. I believed one day you would notice me." She pointed weakly toward Anita. "But she came back from maternity leave pregnant again, always beside you, always smiling." Her voice turned bitter. "I couldn't stand it." Liam stared at her like she was a stranger. "You tried to murder someone because of imagination." Amarachi shook her head violently. "And I thought if she wasn't there, you would see me." Anita's eyes filled with tears, not only fear now, but deep sadness. "You smiled at me every morning," Anita said softly. "You called me big sister." Amarachi covered her face. "I hated seeing you happy," she whispered. The confession sat heavy in the room. Human jealousy, ugly, quiet, dangerous. Liam ran a hand through his hair, pacing once across the room. "Do you even understand what you've done?" he said. "She is carrying my child." Amarachi nodded rapidly, sobbing. I know. That was why I lost control. Watching her carry your baby, it was killing me inside." Snow barked sharply again, as if rejecting the explanation. Anita suddenly shifted in her chair. A sharp pain shot through her lower abdomen. She inhaled sharply. Ah! Liam turned instantly. Anita! She forced a smile. It's nothing, just tightening. But it wasn't nothing. The pressure came again, stronger. And her breathing changed. Snow moved closer to her, whining softly now instead of barking. Liam knelt beside her. Are you having contractions? Anita shook her head quickly. No, it's too early. Another wave came. She gripped Liam's sleeve. I don't know. Liam's face changed completely. Work, anger, betrayal, all disappeared. Only fear remained. He stood up immediately. Call the driver, he shouted through the door. Prepare the car now. Staff voices rose outside. Movement, urgency. Amarachi remained kneeling on the floor, crying quietly. Anita looked at her one last time. Her voice was weak but steady. Why didn't you just live your own life? Amarachi whispered through tears. Because I believed your happiness stole mine. Anita closed her eyes. That answer hurt more than the poison. The door opened as assistants rushed in. Sir, car is ready. Liam helped Anita stand carefully. Snow walked beside her like trained security. As they reached the door, Anita paused. She turned back toward Amarachi. Their eyes met. No hatred, just exhaustion. Jealousy, Anita said softly, is a prison you build for yourself. Amarachi broke down completely. Security officers entered moments later after Liam called them. 2 guards stood beside Amarachi. She did not resist. She looked empty now, like someone who finally saw the destruction she created. Outside the company building, people had already gathered. Phones were out, whispers spreading fast. What happened? Is Madam okay? Police are coming. Liam guided Anita into the back seat of the car. She breathed slowly, fighting fear. Snow sat near the gate watching as Amarachi was escorted outside. And something strange happened. The crowd parted, not for Amarachi, but for Snow. People stared at the dog. Somebody whispered, that dog saved her. Another person said, God used that dog. Inside the car, Anita leaned back, eyes closing briefly. Her hand rested on her belly. And the baby moved again, strong, alive. She whispered quietly, almost to herself. Thank you, Snow. The car sped toward the hospital. Behind them, police sirens approached the company gate. Amarachi stood between officers, head lowered as cameras flashed. Her secret was no longer private. It was becoming a public story, a scandal, a warning. And inside the moving car, Anita suddenly gripped Liam's arm tightly. Liam. Yes? Her voice trembled. The pain. It's coming again. Stronger. Longer. Liam's face drained. Drive faster, he shouted. The driver pressed the accelerator. Traffic horns blared as the car forced its way through Lagos roads. Anita breathed hard, fear rising, tears forming. She whispered, almost pleading, It's too early. The baby isn't ready. And at that exact moment, a sharp pain tore through her body. She cried out. The driver looked at Liam through the mirror. Sir, I think Madam is going into labor. Liam grabbed Anita's hand tightly. Outside, Lagos moved like normal. Okadas passing, traders shouting, buses honking. But inside that car, everything changed, because the shock of betrayal had done what no one expected. Anita's labor had begun. Breathe, Anita. Look at me. Just breathe. Liam's voice shook, even though he was trying to sound calm. Anita gripped his hand so tightly his knuckles turned white. Another contraction came, stronger, longer. It stole her voice for a moment. She leaned forward in the car seat, eyes squeezed shut. The driver pressed the horn again and again as they pushed through traffic near Jabi roundabout. Cars shifted slowly, too slowly. Please move, Liam shouted through the half-open window. Emergency! An Okada rider glanced inside the car, saw Anita's face twisted in pain, and began shouting at the cars ahead. Pregnant woman, move, move! The Lagos noise became background noise. Anita could hear only 3 things: her breathing, her heartbeat. And the memory of the broken glass shattering. She whispered between breaths, "If I had drunk that water." Liam cut her off quickly. "Don't think about that." "But if I had—" "You didn't," he said firmly. She nodded weakly. Snow's face flashed in her mind. The way he jumped, the way he refused to stop barking. That dog had known. But how? Another contraction hit. Anita cried out. The driver finally swerved into the hospital compound, Cedar Care Hospital, Wuse 2. The gates opened fast after security recognized Liam's car. Nurses rushed out with a wheelchair. "Madam, easy, easy." They helped Anita out of the car. She tried to walk, but her legs trembled. Liam stayed beside her, one hand on her shoulder. Inside the hospital, everything became bright. White lights, white floors, white walls. The smell of disinfectant filled her nose. A nurse pressed her hand gently. "How many weeks?" she asked quickly. 38, Anita answered through clenched teeth. "Contractions, how long apart?" I don't know." Another wave of pain bent her forward. The nurse nodded. "Let's move." They rolled her into the maternity ward. Liam tried to follow, but another nurse blocked him gently. "Sir, please wait outside." He hesitated. Anita reached for him. "Stay close." "I'm right here," he whispered. The doors closed, and for the first time since the glass shattered, Liam stood alone. Or his mind replayed everything. The CCTV, the bottle, Amarachi's confession, the words, "I didn't mean to kill her." His hands trembled. He sat down slowly in the waiting area. A television in the corner played muted news. Two elderly women whispered nearby. A man paced on the other side of the room. Life continued normally, but inside Liam's head, everything felt broken. His phone buzzed. He looked at it. 30 missed calls, staff, police, unknown numbers. He ignored them. He pressed his palms together and lowered his head. "Please," he whispered quietly, not sure who he was speaking to. "Protect my wife. Protect my child." Inside the delivery room, Anita lay back on the hospital bed. Sweat beaded on her forehead. A doctor entered quickly. Dr. Hassan, calm, experienced. "Mrs. Anita," he said gently, "stress can trigger early labor. But you are almost full term. That is good." She nodded weakly. Her voice trembled. "My baby will be fine." "We will make sure," he said. Another contraction came. She screamed. And in that scream was fear. Not only fear of pain, fear of what almost happened. Fear of betrayal, fear that someone she trusted wanted her gone. Between contractions, her mind wandered. She remembered Amarachi's laugh during lunch breaks, the way she would lean forward when Liam entered the room, the small compliments, the long stares she had ignored. Had she been blind? Or had she chosen peace over suspicion? Another contraction tore through her body. "Push when I say push," the nurse instructed. Outside, Liam stood when he heard her voice through the door. His chest tightened. He wanted to break the door open. But he stood still, powerless. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Each cry from inside hit him like a wave. At some point, the police called him again. He answered this time. "Yes? Sir, this is Inspector Adeyemi. I bet we have Amarachi in custody." Liam closed his eyes. "I can't talk right now." "Sir, the substance found in her bag is under investigation. It appears to be a pesticide mixture. Very strong." Liam's grip tightened on the phone. "If my wife had drunk it," he began. "She likely would not have survived," the inspector said calmly. Liam swallowed. His heart pounded loudly in his ears. "Sir," the inspector asked. "I'll speak with you later," Liam said, then hung up. And he leaned against the wall slowly. His knees felt weak. Inside the delivery room, Anita screamed again. "Push," the doctor instructed. She pushed. Tears streamed down her face. "I can't." "You can," the nurse encouraged. "Think of your baby." Anita thought of snow, of the broken glass, of the white tiles, of Amarachi's confession, of how close she had been to not seeing this moment. Something inside her changed, not fear, strength. She screamed and pushed with everything she had. The room filled with urgent instructions. Again, almost there. "Breathe." And then a cry, small, sharp, alive. The room paused for 1 second. Then the baby cried louder. Anita collapsed back against the pillow, tears flowing freely. "Is he okay?" she asked immediately. The doctor smiled slightly. "He is strong." They lifted the baby, tiny, red, crying with power. Anita reached out with shaking hands. When they placed him on her chest, the world went quiet. She stared at his face. Her son. Alive. She whispered softly, "You fought to come." The nurse smiled gently. Sometimes babies know when it's time. Outside, the door opened. A nurse stepped out. Liam jumped up. "Sir," she said with a soft smile, "you have a baby boy." For a second, he did not react. Then his face broke open with relief. "Anita." "She is fine." He closed his eyes briefly, then followed the nurse inside. When he saw Anita holding their baby, he stopped walking. The image was overwhelming. She looked tired, weak, but glowing in a way he could not explain. He walked slowly to her side. She looked up at him. "He's okay," she whispered. Liam touched the baby's tiny hand. His voice cracked. "He's here." Anita nodded. They stayed like that for a long moment. Just breathing, just feeling, just grateful. Then Anita's eyes shifted slightly. Her voice lowered. "Liam." "Yes?" "Snow." Liam blinked. "The dog." She nodded weakly. "He saved us." Liam swallowed. "Why, yes." "He needs a home." Liam smiled softly through tired eyes. "He has one." Outside the hospital, news had already begun spreading. Videos from the company gate were circulating online. Manager's wife poisoned by staff. Stray dog saves pregnant woman. Amarachi's name was trending. Because Amarachi was not just a staff member, she was a social media influencer with thousands of followers. Her arrest photo had leaked. Comments flooded. Shock, anger, judgment, memes. And the story was growing faster than anyone expected. Inside the hospital room, Anita slowly drifted towards sleep with her baby resting against her. But even in her peace, a strange thought lingered in her mind. Amarachi had loved Liam, or believed she did. But what kind of love tries to destroy another woman's life? What kind of pain twists into poison? And somewhere in a police holding cell that same night, Amarachi sat alone, her phone confiscated, her name exploding online, and her career collapsing in real time. She stared at her hands, the same hands that held the bottle, the same hands that almost ended 2 lives, and for the first time, she began to understand the weight of what she had done. But outside that cell, something darker was beginning, something no one expected, because the investigation was not finished yet, and the laboratory results of that poison were about to reveal something even more disturbing. The hospital room was quiet. Anita slept lightly, her baby boy resting in the transparent crib beside her bed. Soft beeping sounds from medical machines filled the air like gentle reminders that life was fragile. Liam stood near the window, staring down at the Abuja city lights. His phone vibrated again. Inspector Adeyemi. He stepped outside into the hallway before answering. "Yes?" "Sir," the inspector said, voice serious, "the lab results are back." Liam's stomach tightened. And? It wasn't ordinary pesticide. Silence. It was mixed with industrial cleaning chemicals, highly concentrated. Even a small sip would have caused organ failure within minutes. Liam leaned against the wall. Within minutes. He imagined Anita lifting the glass, smiling, drinking. He imagined her collapsing right there at the company gate. He imagined losing both her and the baby in one afternoon. His throat went dry. "There's more," the inspector added. Liam closed his eyes briefly. "What else?" The amount she added wasn't random. It was measured. Someone researched this mixture. Liam's eyes opened slowly. "You're saying this was planned carefully?" "Yes, sir. This was not emotional impulse. It was prepared." The hallway suddenly felt colder. Liam thanked the inspector and ended the call. Planned. That word stayed heavy in his mind. Inside the hospital room, Anita stirred slightly. The baby made a tiny sound. Liam returned to her side. She opened her eyes weakly. "You look worried." He hesitated, then he decided not to hide the truth. "The poison was stronger than we thought," he said gently. Her face changed slowly. "How strong?" He swallowed. "If you drank it, you wouldn't have made it to this hospital." The words hung in the air. Anita's hand instinctively reached for her baby. Tears filled her eyes, but they did not fall. "I almost left him without a mother," she whispered. Liam shook his head quickly. "You didn't." "But I almost did." Silence stretched between them. Then Anita spoke again, softer this time. "Was it planned?" Liam nodded once, her eyes closed. That hurt more than the pain of labor, because jealousy is one thing. Planning someone's death is another. Meanwhile, in a detention cell across town, Amarachi sat on a metal bench. The police had shown her the lab results. They had told her the truth. "You didn't just try to scare her. You tried to kill her." She stared at the wall, replaying the moment she poured the substance into the glass. At the time, it had felt like control. Now it felt like destruction. Her phone had been buzzing non-stop before they confiscated it. Followers asking questions. Brands withdrawing partnerships. News blogs writing headlines. She buried her face in her hands, not because she was caught, but because she finally understood how far she had fallen. Back at the hospital, Anita gently touched her son's tiny fingers. Her voice trembled. "Liam." "Yes?" If Snow had not jumped, Liam nodded slowly. "But he did," he said firmly. Outside the hospital window, dawn began to break, and with it came a new reality. The world now knew what had happened, and the consequences were only beginning. 2 days later, Anita walked slowly out of Cedar Care Hospital with her baby boy in her arms. Cameras were waiting, microphones stretched toward Liam. "Sir, is it true your staff tried to poison your wife? Will you prosecute her? Is the baby healthy?" Flashes popped, phones recorded. Anita blinked at the bright Abuha sun. Her body was still weak, but her spirit felt steady. Snow stood near the car, a red ribbon tied gently around his neck by one of the nurses. Someone had already posted his photo online. People were calling him the guardian dog of woos. Liam held Anita's elbow carefully as they paused in front of reporters. And he cleared his throat. "My wife and son are alive because of a dog she fed out of kindness," he said calmly. "That is the first thing I want the public to know." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A reporter asked sharply, "What about Amarachi? Will you press charges for attempted murder?" The question hung heavy in the air. Anita looked at Liam. He looked back at her. They had talked all night about this. Police had advised prosecution. The evidence was clear. The law was ready. Anita stepped forward slightly, holding her baby closer. Her voice was soft, but firm. "We are not pressing charges." Gasps. Cameras zoomed closer. "Why?" someone shouted. Anita swallowed. "Because punishment is not always prison," she said slowly. "She has lost her job, her reputation, her peace. She will live with what she did for the rest of her life." Liam nodded beside her. "She will never work in this company again. But we choose mercy." The decision exploded across social media within minutes. Some praised them. Some criticized them. Some said they were foolish. Some called Anita a saint. Across town in a small rented apartment in Guarimpa, Amarachi sat on her bed staring at her phone. The police had released her on bail after hearing the couple's decision. Her followers had turned against her. Brands had dropped her. Messages flooded in, some angry, some cruel. "Oh, jealous murderer. You almost killed a pregnant woman. How could you?" She tried to type a public apology. Her fingers shook. She deleted it. Typed again, deleted again. Her reflection in the mirror looked unfamiliar. The confident influencer, the smiling accountant, gone. That night, neighbors heard nothing unusual. No screaming, no struggle, just silence. The next morning, her landlord knocked repeatedly. No answer. Police were called. The door was forced open. Amarachi was found lifeless in her room. She had taken her own life. The news hit the country like a wave. Anita was breastfeeding her baby when Liam got the call. He sat down slowly before telling her. Anita's face drained. "No." She covered her mouth. Snow, lying near the couch, lifted his head as if he felt the shift in the room. Anita closed her eyes. "I didn't want this," she whispered. Liam shook his head. "You chose mercy." But she chose shame. Silence filled their living room. Outside, life in Abuja moved normally. Traffic, horns, vendors shouting. Inside, Anita looked at her son. He stretched his tiny fingers in his sleep. Life, so small, so fragile. She whispered softly, almost to herself. Jealousy nearly killed me, and it killed her instead. Snow rested his head on her feet. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.